How are you? It's going to be a great video. I'm going to answer a question I get pretty often on my apps, and that is, how do you manage your time when you're an entrepreneur? What do you do, right? You never have enough time, right? I mean, I know I never have enough time. Even if there was like 10 of me, there was probably still, no, if there was 10 of me, there would be enough time probably. But that's silly, right? So how do you manage your time? There's two ways. There's really there's two kind of approaches. Number one is delegation. Okay, the delegation is kind of like you want to hand out, you want to be organized. You have to understand all the tasks that have to be done: marketing, sales, product, right? All that stuff. Maybe legal, maybe whatever. And you have to get people to do them. You have to delegate those tasks. So you become the manager. Okay, you kind of are very not hands-on. You're not hands-on in any of the pieces, but you're like the thinker, okay? And I'll get deeper into this later in the video. So, but the other way to manage your time if you're an entrepreneur is if you be hands-on, which means that you'll have to do many of the jobs that are in your company, like the product, the marketing, the sales, dealing with customer support, blah blah blah. But you'll be extremely hands-on, and you'll have much fewer employees, but you will never have enough time. But if something goes wrong, like your product breaks, you'll know how to fix it. If you need to do the marketing, you'll know how to do it. If you need to do something else, you'll probably know how to do it, and you'll be able to do it quickly instead of calling someone and relying on them, right? So there's two options. If you are when your business grows, you will inevitably have to become the delegator, okay? Or get somebody on your team to become the delegator, like the person who knows all the tasks and delegates them. You'll have to have that because you will not be able to do everything on your own. But if you're starting a business, you do have a choice. If you want to be a delegator or if you want to be the hands-on person. And let's get deeper into these. What are the pros and cons? If you're a delegator, of course it's great because you can do more things. More people can do more things. But the challenge is that these people, they don't grow on trees. You have to pay them either with cash or by giving them ownership of your company, right? And they do take management time, right? They take your time. So if it takes them like 1 hour to complete a task, but it takes you half an hour to explain that task to them and delegate it to them, and then there's like a bunch of email exchange, like, oh, did you mean this or did you mean that, blah blah blah. Then how much time are you really winning, right? So there's always differences in the things you delegate to people. How much time are they really saving you? So it's up to you to make sure that the things that you're delegating are saving you a lot of time, and it's sometimes tricky to figure that out exactly. So you gotta pay them somehow, right? And even once you do pay them with cash or ownership share, it's up to you to make sure that in fact that they are effective. Okay, so that's the challenge, right? It's a real challenge because if you have to pay them, you don't have a limited amount of money because you're a startup. I mean, you probably don't have any money, right? So it's very difficult. If you can, it's great. If you can pay them, I mean. The other option is to be very hands-on, and to be very hands-on is very difficult because you have to be constantly learning. Now I like to start my businesses very hands-on, so I can tell you firsthand what I did to start my apps, and the apps have grown. They have something like close to 300,000 downloads now, my business apps, mobile, and I'll get into them a little bit later, but I made them, right? So I programmed the Android ones, the Amazon, the Kindle ones, the iPhone apps, right? So there's a lot of apps, right? And my apps come as a 4-app course, so there's actually 4 apps on each platform. So there's a lot of apps. Then I promoted them, right? I did it. So there's a lot of marketing. Then the marketing, it like never ends, right? I had to get press for these apps. I had to make sure they rank well in the app stores. I had to make sure that the websites rank in Google, the actual websites that represent the apps. Then I'm even doing these YouTube videos as a part of my promotion for the apps, right? So it really takes a lot of time and effort. And by the way, I have to code the apps too. It never stops either. I have to keep adding features, adding things to the app, customer support. It never ends. Then there's other things like operations, design. The app still needs some design help, right? Whatever the thing is. So I end up working a lot, but I end up learning a tremendous amount. I'm constantly learning. And if something breaks, like if something breaks in my app, chances are I can fix it because I made the app. If something is not right with the marketing, chances are I know what's not right and I can adjust it, and it helps me really. I have the most sense. I'm very close to everything in the business, right? So I have my hands on everything. So I have a very, very good sense of what's working, right? And how to create the entire strategy of the business because I know every detail and how well it's working or not. So that's the real benefit of being very, very, very hands-on in the beginning. And this is my preferred method because you work much harder, but you have a deeper sense of what's really happening in your business. And in the beginning, that's the most important thing that's how I think, in my opinion. So this is how you manage your time, right? You either delegate or you're extremely hands-on and there's way too much work for you. I mean, you can't really manage your time effectively. I mean, in the same day you have to work on the product, work on the marketing. I mean, it's insane, but it's actually an arguably better option, right? So those are kind of the two ways, and you will have to figure out how to navigate that insanity if you are going to be hands-on, because most people cannot afford to be delegators at the beginning because there's just not enough money for it, and not many people want to work for even a part ownership, right? People want cash, and if you don't have cash, sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you want to be hands-on. You're forced into it. So anyway, that's kind of how I would explain time management for an entrepreneur or a person who's starting a business. I hope that was helpful. And of course, if you are starting a business, I made mobile apps which help you start your business. They cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, and they're available on problemio.com, or if you search for Problemio in any of the app stores like iOS, Android, Kindle, Nook. And of course, I'll have the links to everything in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.